Hey, it's Jill with Close to My Heart, and today I'm going to walk you through a fun process video using our collection from Close to My Heart called Hope and Kindness. This is a special promotion kit that is available during National Scrapbooking Month, but if you're tuning in after this collection is available, I promise you that the ideas and concepts that you're going to see in this video are something you can put into practice with any collection or any papers that you might have on hand. So let's get started. I want to show you the papers that I have to choose from today, and this is the Hope and Kindness collection. But you know, with any paper collection, you'll have some variety of sizes, patterns, and colors, which is kind of what I'm working with in my idea of this layout for today. So we've got this beautiful floral. We've got a nice vine print on the back. We've got a polka dot. And then again, unique to this collection are these cut apart sheets. But if you have Picture My Life cards or anything like that, that same kind of concept would be available to you, even if you don't have a pattern paper that has cut apart pieces. But this collection does, and it is gorgeous. We've got this awesome stripe. And on the back, this is one of the papers I feel like I really want to focus on in this process video because I think this is so cool to have strips of paper all on one sheet. Then we've got this green, beautiful plaid and another awesome cut apart detail on the back of this. We've got a beautiful floral tone on tone, a tone on tone, nice yellow pattern, this beautiful floral with the craft, and this star of the show, this beautiful floral paper as well. So lots of pattern paper we're going to be working with. And then for Hope and Kindness specifically, we have some really cool cardstocks. You can see this is a printed cardstock. It looks like I've painted it with acrylic paint, but it is printed right on the cardstock. And the back side is a craft finish. We've got another piece of craft with some white lines painted on, again, finished in the print. And then you've got a few other colors of cardstock here. And on one side, they look like they just have texture of like a burlappy linen. And then on the back side, they look like they've been painted. So these cardstocks are, again, very unique to Hope and Kindness. But if you're not working with this specific kit, the concepts that we're going to be teaching today could be done with traditional cardstock, regular pattern paper, as well as maybe some Picture My Life cards. And of course some stickers, because we love our sticker sheets. And with any Close to My Heart collection, you would be able to find the coordinating sticker sheet. So we've got this, and we're going to use this awesome craft printed paperboard. You can see some of it's printed white and some of it is just beautifully intricate cut. And there's always an embellishment with any collection. So that's basically what I'm working with. I'm limiting myself on this layout to using just what you see here and creating something that then you can transition into almost anything you might have on hand. So let's get started. We're going to make a single 12 by 12 page as well as an accompanying card with whatever scraps we might have at the end.
All right, as I get started on the actual process of creating this layout, I am searching through the pattern papers to decide what I want to use. It's a hard decision because there are just so many beautiful papers in this collection, but I'm just whittling it down, trying to decide what things I want to focus on, knowing that I have just a couple photos that I really want to create as my focal point on this layout. So as I'm looking through the papers, I can see that I think it's really fun to be able to use that paper with the different strips, as well as using some of these sentiments that are on the cut apart sheets. It's so nice to be able to have things that work as titles or as journaling pieces all within the paper collection itself. So I've kind of narrowed it down to a few things. I know that I want to use that base page with the white painted look on it as the base. I think it is so beautiful, and I love to do something like that even with traditional cardstock and texture paste, but this is done for you, and so it's so nice to be able to use this and have it have a beautiful white space to build upon, but also a really cool craft edge. It just comes with so much texture that it's beautiful to work with. So the other thing I knew I wanted to work into this layout was the beautiful doily die cut. And you can see here, there's a large doily and then a smaller one. And so I'm cutting this doily so that I can use it on the project. And so I'm just going to put it through on one of the craft cardstock pieces. and simply crank that through the die cut machine, and then I'll be able to use that piece on the project as well. So just giving that a quick crank through. With the doily, with how intricate it is, and you'll see when we pull it out, I do give it extra pass through just to make sure that all the little bits and pieces come through nice and clean. I also tightened up the tension, which is an amazing feature you can do on the Close to My Heart die cut machine. So I tightened it up, and then you can see how easily all the little pieces fell out, and you have this beautiful doily that's ready to use. So I've got that, and then of course there's quite the cleanup. So now I've got the doily, and as I start to think about using it, I actually think about the idea of using it in a negative space as a stencil. And so I go ahead and grab some Distress Oxide inks. You can see I've got Spiced Marmalade, Abandoned Coral, and Tattered Rose. And those colors I think just play in so beautifully with, and I'm kind of showing you where on the papers I see those colors playing out. And so I think it's going to be really fun to just go ahead and use that doily as a stencil, even though I think it's awesome too to use as an individual piece. Just another idea of something you can do with any of your die cuts is use them for a stencil and then revealing that negative space. So I'm kind of putting it to the left a little because I know that my photos need to go side by side on the right. And so I'm just kind of giving it an eyeballed spot of where I know it will work on my page. And then we're going to do some Distress Oxide blending. And if you've never used Distress Oxide inks, they are so perfect for this kind of technique because the color is so rich and intense, and you can just buff it through and it will go right through that stencil feel of this doily and give me a really intense color coverage really quickly. So we've sped this up so you can see it in a faster process here. But what I decided to do was take the Spiced Marmalade, blend it kind of at the base, and then kind of like you would with a flower, have it darker in the center and then let it lighten as it goes out. And so the Abandoned Coral will go next, and you can kind of overlap the colors on these. That's another really awesome thing about Distress Oxides is when I mix those two colors together, I get a third color because they blend so beautifully together. And you can see I don't need to do the entire circle of the stencil because I know I'm going to layer paper and photos on the right side. So I'm just giving myself kind of a base to build upon on this left side. So Abandoned Coral, I'm filling in all those little holes, and then I'm also going off the edge so that you get that scalloped feel as well. So as I blend that out, then I'm going to take that last color and just give it a really soft feel. And there is that really like clouded, blended look. And so then, yeah, coming in with that Tattered Rose to soften those edges even more and give even more color onto that white space. So you can see I'm just going where the Abandoned Coral left off and coming in with Tattered Rose, and it just gives you a really soft blend out on those outer edges. And you could easily just use your Abandoned Coral and keep blending so there's not much ink left on it, and you'll get a softer look as well. But I kind of liked bringing in a third color just to give it that really soft kind of cloudy feel on that outer edge. So I'm just buffing that in, and the more you blend these inks, the better. They melt together really nicely the more you kind of go over them and rub them together. So just getting all that color in, and I just love the way this looks. I hadn't really thought about using the doily in this way, but once I did, I thought it's just a really cool technique and something you could do, again, with lots of your different dyes. So, all right, we've got the blending going on, and now we are ready to work with that as our base. So you can see how beautiful that color blend turns out when you've got all those inks together. All right, so now we're going to start building onto this base. And I'm just showing you that you could easily use that doily for something else because now it's colored. The color even saturated the craft paper really pretty too. So there's just another bonus piece that you could easily use on another project. So I know I want to use pieces of this strip of paper. I think that's just such a fun, clever idea for pattern paper. And it allows you to use all those pieces in a really cool way. And they're all different widths, which is really nice as well. So I'm just trimming off that zip strip to start. And then to use the different strips of paper, I decided I want to kind of tear them apart versus cut them apart. And this again just adds extra texture. You could easily use your paper trimmer and slice right down them. But with a ruler on the paper and then pulling it like I'm going to show you here, you can get a little extra distress and texture to the paper from the tear marks. So you can see I'm pulling up against the ruler, and that's going to give me a clean tear because I did want it to be straight. You could easily tear it with no ruler and have it be even more organic and jagged edged, but I just wanted that torn edge look, and you can see how that comes across. So I'm going to go ahead and just continue to tear some of the pieces on this stripe paper so that I can use them as if I had just cut down a bunch of pattern papers, but all of them are in this one 12 by 12 sheet, which is awesome. But if you don't have this specific collection, Hope and Kindness, and you are wanting to duplicate the ideas on this layout, you could absolutely grab any of your scraps and do this exact same technique. Just give yourself 12-inch strips, vary the widths so that you have a lot of different pieces and variety going on, and then you could easily build this with any collection or any mix of collections, even from your scrap pile. So still a fun idea, even without this really unique paper that's in this collection. So now I've got multiple pieces. Some of them I left 2 patterns on, and some of them I cut individually. So now I'm just kind of building the layout and trying to decide which pieces I like and up against which ones. The overlap of them will also give a little bit more texture to them as well. And so just kind of playing with that and deciding where I want the different pieces of color to kind of fall in the project itself. So I also like that the back side had that really fun stripe across the whole thing, and so I kind of want to put some of that stripe on the layout too. So I've decided to use the back side on that piece, which is the stripe of the full 12 by 12. So I like the horizontal feel of that when everything else is a little different from that. And then I'm just deciding if I want to pull in the green because I do like the weight that that gives, but I think the Harbor polka dot piece also weighs that down really well also. So just playing around with the variety. That's the beauty of a process video, is being able to figure out what you want to use and how, and just seeing what speaks to you as you start playing with the product. So I've decided I do want to put some of that green paper in, and so I cut into that page, just being aware of what's on the back side and what I might be wanting to use as I finish using the paper, making sure that whatever I want to use from that cut apart side is available to me. So that's how I just chose what green portion I was going to use. So I kind of like that white edge showing on that torn piece. There's just a little too much, so I cleaned that up a little, and now I've got green that's going to weigh it down on that left side. That deeper, darker color is really helping to just kind of ground all those stripes together. So placing that so that it overlaps the doily slightly, but lets most of that doily show. And that's going to give you a lot of weight on the right side, and then that soft and round shape on the left side is just a really nice balance of design. So in come the rest of the striped pieces, just overlapping and layering, and I want it to go all the way to the edge of the 12 by 12 base page, and so then I just kind of have to play around with the spacing and make sure that all works. And I decide I need one more, and that's where that harbor stripe is or the strip of the polka dot harbor is going to come into play, because then that's going to give me the weight of the pine on the left and the harbor on the right, and all the other pieces in the middle are lighter in color. Oh, maybe I decide to put the harbor in the middle. That's what we do. So that gives you just a little pop of that darker color in the middle. There you go. There's really no right or wrong way when you're playing with the stripes. It's just kind of whatever speaks to you and gives you that nice color balance. So here you can see that the harbor in the middle is a thinner strip, and it still gives you some depth there. And then you can see the balance of the oranges and yellows are spread apart as well. So just however it makes you happy to put all those pieces together is great. So then you can see I do this technique a lot when I am putting a little bit of dimension and texture onto a piece. I'll just use my fingernail and rough up the edge of the paper so it's adhered down. And so I'll do this even if I sew a strip down with a sewing machine, then I'll come back through and do that little edge roughing. It's just kind of something I do on a lot of pieces to give it just a little bit of texture and lift from one another. So then I'm pulling in my two photos. I have these really cute photos of my two daughters that I thought were perfect for Hope and Kindness, and just a fun photo shoot that we had to document this phase of their life. And I'm going to mat it on the craft cardstock. So I'm cutting that craft paper because it's got that beautiful pattern on it too, and we've got it on the background. So that base piece, 12 by 12, had the texture, but you don't see a ton of it because we've covered it up with the stripes, and the white paint look also masks a lot of that, but it's there. And so then by doing my photos matted this way as well, then you're getting a little bit more of that kind of playing back in. So you can see that that helps pull it all together. Normally I'm a mount on white type of girl for my photos, but I think that there's times where this really makes sense. So here I'm taking my scissors and keeping them closed. I'm distressing the edges of those photo mats. Again, just to give some texture to this layout. I think with the look of the paper, with the painted look and the texture on the prints, that adding a little bit of extra distressing just really gives it that extra detail that it needs. And just doing that with your scissors closed takes off some of the color but doesn't tear the paper. So you can see what that looks like when you do that small, quick technique. It really brings a lot of detail and shows that white core on the paper too. So now I'm going to mount my photos. I'm using some foam tape to pop those up. And you can see I leave the edges open. This is just a rule of thumb whenever I'm creating from scratch and not following a specific pattern. I always make sure not to put adhesive all the way to the edges of things, because I never know when I'm going to tuck a sticker behind or layer an accessory or find a scrap of paper and give myself a little extra matting or layer. So that's just kind of how I always create, but it's really helpful so that you can start building and start making progress, but also give yourself some flexibility. So here I'm looking at the beautiful sticker sheet. There's so many stickers to choose from. It's kind of hard, but what I love about this is the saying, of course, the "You are amazing" saying that's on the sticker, but I also like bringing in the circle element again. So I put it on some foam tape, but then I'm taking off the extra tack around the edges of that sticker. And then this is going to get matted on the bottom left corner of my photos. But you can see how pulling in that circle, again, on top of the doily circle, is really helping to pull in that same shape and element again. So then I'm taking this little banner sticker, and what I'm liking about this is that it's going to go on the top right, so balancing out that, it kind of frames the top of the photo, but I also love that it brings in that same color that's in the other sticker. So I'm creating a visual balance in those colors right there. Then I've got the Keep On Growing sticker in Harbor, and kind of pointing out that that's bringing in that second color. that matches in that polka dot paper. And then I'm taking that large floral sticker and just kind of explaining how you can make clusters or use full stickers to create the clusters. So there's lots of different ways that you can use all the different florals in a sticker sheet. And so this one, that flower is getting put on with some leaves, and I'm building my own cluster over here. But easily you could take one large sticker and place that down. So lots of possibilities here. What I like about these, especially when I'm putting them behind a photo, is just kind of building the cluster so that it covers what I want it to, that it accentuates what I want it to, and I can kind of balance that however I want. So it's fun to be able to kind of just be your own florist and build your own little pattern together. So I want some smaller little flowers to build in this cluster I've created. And so I'm seeing that there's 2 more perfect sized flowers that are on that hope banner. So I've decided to just go ahead and use the flowers instead of the banner, the whole piece. And look how perfectly that fills the empty space between the Keep On Growing sticker and that other flower that I've got going on. So I really like how that looks. And I hopefully helps you see that you can take your stickers and look at them beyond what they are. You know, if you wanted just the word heart from that Let Your Heart Be Your Compass sentiment, you could fussy cut that right out. You can cut just leaves off of flower clusters so that you have some foliage in an area. So just look at your stickers beyond how they are designed on the carrier sheet and use them however it helps you on your project best. So pulling in again another one of those little circles, and that's going to give me an extra balance, and the scale of all those circles is really nice as well. And then I'm just going to put in some scattered hearts. Again, picking the harbor because now I've got a visual triangle of the harbor elements on the page, and then picking a few more just to build in the cluster of 3 up in the top right. And you just kind of play around, right? We all just kind of move things around until they feel like they fit. So the puzzle that is scrapbooking, it's always so fun just to create and pull things together. So, all right, now I'm coming into that cut apart sheet. Again, it has so many different ways that you can use it. And so here I've got this one that's like a 3x4 sized card, which you could absolutely use as is. I think it's awesome. The way the words are already designed, the strips are made. You could use it just as is and put it in a pocket page or as you're journaling on a layout. But what I did was cut them apart so that I could use them in this cluster down here at the bottom. So I decided not to use beautiful because it already says beautiful. Dream Big is the same color as Keep On Growing. Stronger For It's a good one. Wild and Free is cute. So it's just kind of playing around and seeing which one I like. The You Are Amazing is cute as well. And then I'm just trying to decide. Just playing around with different things, and the smile's cute but kind of heavy for what we already have going on. There's lots of text happening. So we commit to the Stronger For It, and I'm going to lift it and put it under the sticker right there and layer those 2 pieces. And that again brings in that beautiful sage color in 3 different areas. So you've got it in the beautiful banner, the circle sticker, and the Stronger For It strip balances all of that out. So now see, I still have that hope sticker that I wasted, not really, but I decided I can still use the parts that I had there. And so I tucked them under that circle. And again, that's why I don't put foam tape or adhesive all the way on the edges, because I want to be able to find ways when the layout is almost done that I can really play around with some of those small details. So I feel like I was able to get a lot of use out of that hope banner, even though I didn't use the word hope. I've got the flower cluster, and then I used the end of that banner piece to help pull it together. So then I'm coming into the craft printed die cut sheet, and I'm pulling in just some of those hearts that are painted with the white. I feel like that helps pull in some of the background paper again. So and I just start scattering elements on. I pop things out of these carrier sheets or even any acrylic shapes or any accessory that comes with the kit. When I have the basis of my layout done, then I just start playing around and laying things on and editing. That's really your opportunity to kind of decide what's too much, what's too little, what, you know, hits the mark. And so I think that's really fun to put that craft leaf in that cluster. It brings a totally different texture and color to that floral. And then there's a little spot I want to fill down there at the bottom also. So there is another craft piece. And look how well that helps balance out that cluster. So then, of course, we need some journaling. So I'm just giving myself a few journaling lines, a journaling pen and my ruler, and then adding my journaling to this. So as I write the journaling, I hope you're seeing how simple the layout is and how well it comes together, but also how many different products and ways we were able to manipulate things to give us exactly what we needed to finish off this page. So here is the final layout. You can see all of the details. And again, it's very simple. We use some distress oxides, but everything else is just paper and embellishments from the collection. We could absolutely go even further if we wanted to with some sparkles and gems and all the things. It definitely could handle even more, but I love the simplicity of just taking what I had in this specific collection and going with it. So, all right. Now we said we would go ahead and use some of our extra scraps to make a card. I love to do this when I finish a layout. You know, before I put all the collection I've been working with away, I just kind of let it, you know, turn into some fun cards. So my first idea was using the strip idea that I did on the layouts and using extra strips to build a layout or a card that kind of matched that concept on the layout. But then I also saw this paper and thought that it's so pretty with all these sentiments. And so I kind of wanted to keep the card more simple and be able to use some of the details on the card itself, or on the paper itself. So we are going to just start cutting some of this pattern paper down. And you've got all these pieces that almost fit perfectly as is. So that's so nice to be able to play with that different pattern. So here we are with the scissor distressing again. It's just a go-to technique to help give your paper just a little bit of texture, a little bit of distressing, and it reveals that white core in such a beautiful way. So this piece is going to kind of be the entire base of the card. I love the back side of that. That's what I was toying with, was the floral pattern that's on the cut apart side, but that green kind of plaid piece is the base side, and I think that that's just beautiful to weight down the card and give it a really nice bold background. So that's what we've done, is put that on there. Then I am playing around with the sentiment that says humble and kind, but then I also love that piece right there, and that's what I'm going to go with. So I trim off the zip strip, and then I take that smaller piece right there. It's 3x4 size, and look how perfectly that mats on the card. And it's in that really soft ballerina pink, but then it has the beautiful pine leaves on it, and so it's perfect to layer against that pine pattern paper on the background. So as I was looking just for what sentiment I might want to put on, that piece really spoke to me for the perfect layer on this card. So putting a good amount of foam tape on that so that it gives it some stability as we finish off what will then go on the rest of the card. So I'm putting that right in the center, and it's scaled and fit perfectly just from the size that it was on the cut apart sheet. And of course, adjusting when you put it down just off center. Doesn't that always happen? All right, so there is kind of the basis of the card, and now I'm coming into the cut apart sheet, and there's that fun sentiment that says hello. So we're popping that out, and obviously, you know, if you have stamp sets you could use, but I was working with what I had here, and there are perfect things that work as a title on a scrapbook page, but also can be used on the card as well. So it's fun to be able to take all the different elements and use them in a variety of ways. So here's our base, and then I'm going to just attach the word hello on the card. And I'm using my tweezers to get those nice and straight, and I always start when doing stickers or stamping or any kind of individual letter spelling, I start with the letter in the center of the word so that everything stays centered on the project. So I started with the first L, and then I was able to build out to the left and right of that to keep that nice and centered on the card. So now my card has a really fun sentiment, and it's got that craft texture as well as the white detail on that craft that's printed right on. So it's so nice to be able to use that. So then I decide I'm going to pull out some of those beautiful detailed craft die cuts, and I'm tucking those in. So it's kind of fun that you've got the leaf clusters that are coming into the card on the printed piece, and then I'm adding some textural dimensional pieces that kind of round out those clusters going the opposite direction, and it just kind of gives it a real fun, whimsical look. So I'm just playing around with which leaves and where, and I want them to feel like they're just kind of tucked in and coming out of those clusters, but also not extending past the edge of the card, so that it can fit in an envelope. So just adhering those, and you can see that that's just a fun way to kind of mimic what's happening on the printed piece. So those are the leaves, and then I decide to put the little butterfly in, bend his wings up for a little bit of texture. And I decided that one leaf was just a little too large. And then the last thing I'm doing is taking a jelly roll. I use the 0.05, and because those craft pieces have the printed polka dots on it, I'm recreating some of that detail on the craft pieces that don't have any color and detail on them. So I think I'm grabbing a different gel pen to get some really good white ink. There we go. And then I'm just adding little details, little tiny just kind of doodles on the craft to pull in that same white look. And I think that makes it pop, it ties it together, and then I decide to even do some of that on the printed piece as well. So it's got that painterly look on the leaves, and then the white gel pen just gives it even more pop and detail there.
All right, here is our finished layout. I love how it turned out, and it was so easy to bring all these details together because of the amazing sticker sheet. Here is that sticker sheet we used, and you can see there's still plenty of titles and different things here, but if you didn't have a sticker sheet or you have completely used it on another project, but you have more paper that you want to keep going, I want to show you some possibilities. And especially with Hope and Kindness, you have these amazing cut apart sheets, and these cut apart sheets work beautifully for keeping them in kind of the rectangle or square shapes that they're in, but you can also cut them even further apart to actually pull out icons, words, titles, and things like that. So we did use on this layout one of the stickers here to make that keep on growing strip, but I could easily have done this layout with no stickers and just using the things within these papers. And remember, if you don't have a paper collection that has cut apart sheets, Picture My Life cards or any kind of pocket card would be the perfect substitution to pull those cards in and look at where you could find icons, journaling strips, titles, patterns, things like that to embellish and add detail to your layouts. So if I just were to take this paper here, I could have easily gotten a lot of what I have happening on this layout, and I wanted to show you what that could look like. So I could easily cut out this Better Together, and that could have been in place of that sticker right there and had a perfect title to the page. Now this was a cluster of a lot of different stickers, but if you see on this page, there's this awesome floral right in the corner. So just by simply fussy cutting that flower, I could have replaced that entire cluster happening down here with stickers and used the pattern paper itself. This So Beautiful banner could have been any of these different sentiments. I even have the word beautiful right here I could have used. I've got Smile that even has that same little swash that the sticker had, or I could have even cut out words like humble, kind. Any of these different sentiments could also have gone up here in this top corner. I also had plenty of other word strips that I could have used down in this bottom portion. So I just wanted to show you that while we focused on all the possibilities on that sticker sheet, there are always ways to embellish your pages even when you don't have a specific embellishment or access to stickers. Look at the things within your pattern papers as well as your pocket scrapbooking cards and find elements that you might want to use to embellish your page. And I hope that helps you to just create a vision for lots of uses of different pattern papers and different embellishments that you can create all from the collections that you have on hand. So here's what we created today with just a few pieces of pattern paper. We were able to do so many fun, detailed designs and really cool techniques, and I hope you've learned something that will help you in your creative journey moving forward. If you liked what you saw in this video today, you will not want to miss any of our creative videos on the Close to My Heart YouTube channel. So be sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and ring that bell so you don't miss any notifications of our upcoming videos. Thanks again.